The Brooklyn Nets, over the past few years, will go down as one of the biggest what ifs, as one of the biggest disappointments we've ever seen. A team with 3 MVP candidates, 2 actual MVPs, and Kyrie Irving, who is a bona fide superstar. They won one playoff series together. One. And not only that, a team that never made it to the Eastern Conference Championship. A team that fell apart before it could even get going. It felt like every time they started to take a step in the right direction, they found a way to take 8 steps backwards. Today we're going to talk about one of the saddest tragedies we've ever seen in basketball, which is the destruction of the Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. It started when Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, along with DeAndre Jordan, signed with the Brooklyn Nets in the summer of 2019. After tearing his Achilles in the playoffs with the Warriors, Kevin Durant looked to try and prove it by himself that he could win a championship. And alongside with him, Kyrie Irving came from the Boston Celtics, and they joined forces to what we thought would be an unguardable super team. Sadly, the first year Kevin Durant did have to sit out, recovering from his injury, but after that, the next season, they looked dominant together. And with the addition of James Harden, they looked like a team that could not be beat. And while James Harden and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant were all healthy, I don't think there was a team that could have competed with them. And if we're all being honest, that playoff series with Kyrie Irving and James Harden both out, Kevin Durant still almost willed his team to victory to beat the eventual champions that year in the Milwaukee Bucks. And if it wasn't for Kevin Durant's feet being absolutely ginormous, this story would probably be a lot different today. As, for being honest, with Kyrie Irving and James Harden both coming back from injury, there's no team that could have guarded the Brooklyn Nets, and there was no team that would have been able to stop them on the road to a championship. But, unfortunately, that's not the story we're left with. We're left with the story of what could have been. A team that we thought should have competed at the top level of the Eastern Conference for at least 5 years. But what happened was, with slow things, we started to hear rumblings about Kyrie Irving and James Harden having differences. So, at last year's trade deadline, after a year with the team, James Harden asked out. And they got back all-star player who had been sitting out with the Philadelphia 76ers, Ben Simmons, who sat out the rest of that year, which caused some rumblings before he even joined the team with the Nets. But we thought, well, next year they'll come back. And that was this year. And at the start of the year, it was bad. Before Steve Nash was fired, they looked like a terrible team, and we were all asking the question of, what happened? This team looked potent for success, but it just all fell apart. And then, after that, after the firing of Steve Nash and the hiring of Jacque Vaughn, things finally started to get going. The Brooklyn Nets were on fire. But then, something always happens. Kyrie Irving had some trouble with saying some wrong things and some inconsiderate things about people, and then Kyrie Irving came back and they started to win a lot, and then sadly Kevin Durant got hurt, and that's where we are now. Ever since Kevin Durant got hurt, a lot has been going on with Kyrie Irving having a bigger focus on the offense, and Ben Simmons we thought would step up, but he really hasn't. But we have seen the emergence of Nicholas Claxton, who's been dominant this year. He's been what the team has needed for the last couple of years, and he's really stepped up. Even with the Kevin Durant injury, they were still chugging along. They were still around 500, but we knew with Kevin Durant this team might have been unstoppable, and we thought everything was clicking. We saw videos of the teams in the huddle, and everything was going all right, and we thought they were poised to be a good team this year and really compete at the top of the Eastern Conference, which, to be honest, feels wide open and still does feel wide open. And then, after contract negotiations fell through, we saw Kyrie Irving request a trade, and within days, Kyrie Irving was traded to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a couple first-round picks, which, to be honest, After Gobert going for 4 first-round picks and all he went for and what Donovan Mitchell went for, it seems crazy low. It seems like this team that was poised for perfection, a team, an offensive juggernaut like we've never seen before, who had finally got it together, did what it always did, found a way to break apart. But here's the thing. The best part about this story is the story's not over. I truly believe that the Brooklyn Nets are still very easily in contention for the East this year and for the NBA championship. You have who I believe is the most unguardable player in basketball, which is Kevin Durant. A 7-foot point guard who can do anything and everything on the court. We've seen the emergence of him as a defender this year. We've seen the emergence of prime Kevin Durant, who we thought many years ago had hit his prime, and post-Achilles tear, he seems to have almost become a better player. It's unbelievable what this man is. And he gets a lot of shit for leaving OKC. But I truly believe if he somehow wills the Nets to a championship this year, it will take away everything that has been said about him, for him being a soft player, for him quitting on OKC, for him taking the easy road and going to Golden State. If he can somehow win a championship this year, and I'm not saying that it's likely, but it's possible. We've seen crazier things happen, and if he does, I truly believe he will cement himself as a top 10 player of all time. The knock on him is that he took the easy road out, and even though he requested a trade this offseason, he's here, he's with Brooklyn, he's got to make the best of the situation. We must ask ourselves, is this possible for the Nets to win? With Kyrie Irving being gone, there's going to be a lot more emphasis on Ben Simmons to really step up, and as we've seen, he really hasn't. This is a restart for Ben Simmons and the Brooklyn Nets. I truly believe that if they can somehow band together and take everything that has happened in the last couple of years and try and push it behind them, they can still win an NBA championship because they have one of the best players in basketball, Kevin Durant. It's sad to see such a talent like Kyrie Irving kind of go crazy. It kind of almost reminds you of Antonio Brown a couple years ago. I wish the best for the Nets and for Kyrie Irving. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe.